I promise I have not abandoned my previous style of videos. Those are still going to happen. I honestly wanted to do this squeaky chair. I honestly wanted to do this just because I think it's a little more personable, a little easier to talk to you guys. When we get back into some more analytical stuff, we will be going more with, pictures on the screen, stuff like that. To be completely honest, I've also been a little lazy. My fiance and I have been very busy the last couple days. We haven't even gotten to the Snyder Cut yet, believe it or not. So for those of you saying, review the Snyder Cut, sorry, I just haven't had 4 hours free, believe it or not. It's all been work. But I will say I did have time to sit down and watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 1. Now, I don't know if I should do reactions to every episode. You guys can tell me if you find that interesting at all. Maybe that would be boring as hell. Who am I to even talk about it? I'm not like some film critic, but I did want to talk about it from the standpoint of a comic book fan, of a fan of superheroes, Marvel, the MCU in general, and a previous MCU critic, back in phase 1 who said, this isn't that great. I loved Iron Man 1. I thought 2 was kind of a mess, but I liked the relationship he had with his father. Hulk is kind of a disaster. Captain America 1, I loved the villain, but thought it was fine. Wish I liked it more. I've liked it more in recent years. So for me, I have been, and Thor was good. Thor was really good. But I have been a critic of the MCU, honestly, in a lot of ways. I'm even the guy who says, hey, listen, I think Age of Ultron is a better written movie than the first Avengers. I think it's more serious, has a more consistent tone. I can take the villain more seriously. Just saying that's my perception of this. So if I'm a bit contrarian, that might be why. But I am now sold on the character of the Falcon. I was not always. Sam Wilson, to me, in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, he was sort of just a character that was there. I guess a glorified sidekick with some wings and some guns. I thought he was cool, but that was about it. He showed up in some fun cameos, like, for example, in Ant-Man. I thought that was hilarious, how Ant-Man kind of kicked his ass. I also thought it was fun, his inclusion in Civil War. That's where I really started to like him more, was Civil War, where he started to, I guess, really show this sense of loyalty to Steve Rogers. Started to like him a lot more. When we get into The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, there are some pretty big shoes to fill. We're going to be talking spoilers here for just a few minutes. So if you haven't seen this yet, this is where I'd hop out. I will tell you spoiler free. I loved it. It is a little slower than some stuff like WandaVision. Yes, it is a little political and racially charged, absolutely, but it's shaping up to be something very interesting, and it could be very, very unique and serious in this universe. When we pick up here, we have Sam Wilson. He is essentially in a really, really, really crappy spot. One of his best friends, Steve Rogers, the previous Captain America, has left his shield to him, told him to essentially carry on the legacy. It belongs to you. Now, there was some debate on whether or not it should belong to Bucky. I was even part of that, thinking, in some ways it should. But with how splintered Bucky's mind is, he is in no position to be a representative of much anything, especially not the United States. But Falcon, Sam Wilson, is approached by the government and asked to give this shield back, which he actually seems to reluctantly oblige on and give it back. It seems to be under the premise that this is going to go to a memorial for Steve Rogers, that Captain America's legacy is going to be honored over here. Falcon's going to do his own thing, be his own hero, and they're going to get a new age of heroes. However, we find out throughout the course of this episode that's not what the U.S. government has in mind. They don't want Sam Wilson to be Captain America. They don't want anyone associated with Steve Rogers, it appears, to be Captain America. They want someone they can control, someone who looks like the previous Captain America. Take that for however you want. And they pick John Walker. That's where the episode ends, is John Walker becoming the new Captain America, much to the dismay of Sam Wilson, who gave back this shield to the understanding that it was going to be preserved and kept to honor his friend. This episode was really emotional. I was honestly very surprised at how well they were able to make Falcon. My fiance and I were talking about it. Jill was talking about it and said, I used to think Falcon was really lame. I really like him now. I agree with her that he actually has one of the best costume improvements probably in the MCU. If you look back at him in the Winter Soldier movie, he was really generic. I mean, he was just basically in a gray bodysuit with some guns and gray wings. He is now fully colorful. He's got the red accents. He's becoming his own character, both in fashion design of how his character looks, but also in the writing. And we get a lot more into Sam Wilson's background. Poor family, join the military, you know, to sort of escape troubles at home and also make a name for himself. This does a really good job of, I guess, fleshing this character out. Bucky didn't need fleshing out, but we get even more with him. We get more of the war torn guilt. We get to see more of what happened to him in terms of people he killed. It's actually really sad and really emotional. I would say that this first episode really does touch on the emotional themes of the original Captain America: The Winter Soldier movie. It's very, very deep. I think that this was fantastically done. I think that they did a really good job with the writing. They got really in depth with both characters, and this looks to be in a really interesting direction going forward. I think that if you are not sold on this show yet, it's going to be really, really interesting. They're going to get into a lot of stuff with patriotism, some stuff, yes, with like relations between different groups of people in the US, but also how that fits into the MCU. And for those of you who have said, I wish the MCU was more serious, I wish the MCU would tackle more serious issues, I wish it was darker like DC was. Well, if Infinity War and Endgame didn't convince you that this universe can be dark, this has got some dark themes going on in it. Abandonment by the US government, marginalized people groups. You know, as someone who you can usually tell where I fall on issues, I don't think that this is going to really alienate people. I think that this is just sort of a critical lens look at the characters in the MCU, Falcon, the Winter Soldier, how they will fit together, how they will redeem themselves, come together as partners, and how the legacy of Captain America will be honored. I'm super excited to check this out. I hope you guys are too. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you watch the first episode? What did you think? We thought it was a little slow, but it was slow to build up all this emotional involvement, so we loved it. Let me know if you want to see more episode reactions or reviews or anything like that. Be sure to talk about the Snyder Cut very soon as well. Have a fantastic day. Everything's in the comments down below. Etsy shop. My wife, fiance, sorry, I always call her my wife, has a ton of merch. I have some official channel merch over there. Check it out. Helps us out. Patreon, Instagram, Discord, Twitter. It's all there. Secondary channel. Let's Play podcast style. Have a fantastic day. As always, stay swag.